Hi, I'm Tom Spitali. If you're like most of our B2B clients, you worry that you don't have enough insight into customer needs and a limited market research budget to uncover those needs. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to tell you about a no-cost method for quickly gaining high-quality customer insight that we call the Vietnam card sort. Now, I'll explain in a minute why we call it the Vietnam card sort. But this is a method that takes advantage of the interactions that you already have with customers, such as sales calls. So you might want to enlist the help of a few trusted members of the sales force with this process. But here's how it works. Before even visiting a customer, you need to create a hypothesis as to what customers' needs are. This is really important because if you just ask customers unaided what their needs are, they'll revert to the typical needs, well, I need lower prices or better availability. However, if you generate a list of customer needs hypotheses that you put on index cards, this is going to help you and them to get a level deeper, a layer deeper into what their true needs really are. So here's how the hypothesis generation works. With your stack of index cards, you imagine your customer answering a couple of key statements. Those statements might be, I like to do business with companies that help me to do X, Y, or Z, or currently my company is trying to achieve A, B, or C. Whatever A, B, C, or X, Y, Z is, that is a needs hypothesis that you will write down on an individual index card before you visit the customer. So let's imagine for a second that you are selling medical devices and you're about to call on hospital administrator customers. You might imagine a hospital administrator customer saying, I like to work with companies that help me to achieve better patient outcomes. That would be a needs hypothesis that you'd write down on a single index card. Or currently, my company is trying to achieve better reimbursement practices, which you would also write down on an individual index card. Now, you don't have to go crazy here. 3 or 4 or 5 such benefits will be enough to have a really rich conversation with the customer. You take your stack of hypothesized needs on your index cards, and maybe most importantly, you add a couple of blank cards to the stack because those will be something that will be key into getting that layer deeper that I talked about earlier. So now, when you're sitting in front of the customer and the sales call original business has been finished, you ask the customer if they would like to have a few minutes conversation so that you can better understand their needs. And you hand them your stack of index cards and say, we've sort of guessed at your needs, but can you tell us if we've got them right? And the customer will look at the index cards and think about them and say, well, these are pretty good, but here's a couple that you've missed. And those are really important. Those needs that you've missed, quickly write them down on a couple of your blank index cards. Then, the second part of the simple process is to hand the entire stack back to them and ask them to put those benefits in order of their importance to them. And once they have done that, then you are done with the Vietnam card sort, except for the analysis. Because when you get back to the office and you gather the input that you've achieved through this practice, you're going to notice a couple of things. One thing is that you'll find some benefits that you didn't hypothesize that are important to your customers. But also, because you ask them to put the benefits in order of importance to them, you'll notice some patterns emerging as to how different sets of customers have ordered those benefits. Well, that is a segmentation hypothesis. For example, if you get a group of customers who tend to rate better reimbursement practices high on their card sort list, this might be indicative of a capitalist segment. Or maybe one of the needs that you didn't hypothesize, but customers said they wanted is understand and use the latest technology. And you might notice the set of customers that rank that high. That might be a caring, cutting edge segment. So what this process allows you to do is get deeper insight into customer needs, have great dialogue with customers, and in fact, maybe even generate a great segmentation hypothesis that you can utilize later in creating great value propositions that match the needs of individual segments. Now, we call this the Vietnam card sort because we first tried it in rural Vietnam with an agricultural products distributor who wanted to understand the needs of their distributors better. And Sean Wellham, my colleague, and I, who first used this practice in Vietnam, said if it works here, it'll work anywhere, because these guys are real no-nonsense businessmen, these distributors, and with the language barrier, this is quite a challenge. Well, it worked beautifully with this group, and in fact, as we've tried this technique with groups from around the world, customer groups from around the world, it's worked beautifully. So I'm very confident in saying this will work for you. So please let us know if you have any questions about the Vietnam card sort, and do let us know of your successes with the method. Best of luck. Thanks.